So I made Christina take a personality test too. I'm gonna need you to take one soon.
Okay.
So that I can understand what your personality. I think yours is probably pretty similar to mine. But it's been
What if I get one that says I'm an alien? Or a robot? What if I'm like a computer? It's like you're a computer.
You're an actual computer. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome to episode, I think 10. I think we hit 10. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm really excited if so, because that's a milestone. Did you know that 20% of all shows make it to 10?
That'd be more exciting if you did it while brushing your teeth, though. It would be more interesting if you were brushing your teeth while saying that fact. I would say
that's a segment we do on my vlogs, on my other channel, my vlogging channel. We should do the entire show that's both brushing our teeth.
That would be a lot of, and then make Christina have to figure out what we said for the
yeah.
30 minutes later.
That would be nuts. She would kill me.
Yeah.
I'd have to pay her for that. Probably.
I hope so.
I mean even though it all goes back into one bank account. I have to pay her.
That's pretty terrible.
With smoothies. Anyway.
The true measure of love.
I'm sorry. We forgot that you guys were there. We started talking about all the lovely adventures of our lives. It's hard not to, because our lives are just so awesome. So today, I had to figure out a way to get that back to where we're going. How are you guys today? I hope you're doing well. I want to see comments. I want to learn about this. Learn about how you're doing. So today I want to talk about using your best qualities. Well, did you know that we often get overwhelmed by our weaknesses?
I don't know. I always focus on my strengths. Like I focus on my really strong eyebrow game I have going on.
Oh,
my really strong eyebrows. And,
How can you not?
I'm always focusing on your really strong hair game. Mm-hmm. So, if we combined eyebrows and hair.
See, it's interesting though, because you focus on my strong hair game, and I don't actually do this. I do actually think my hair is utterly perfect. But one could focus on the split ends, right?
That's true.
You could focus on your weaknesses.
You could focus on your weaknesses.
You could focus on the positive fact that you have a freaking lion's mane on your head that you worked so hard to get, and you put in the time, and you didn't take care of it for that long so that it would look like a lion's mane. Anyway, so we get overwhelmed by our weaknesses, I believe. I know I do. Do you feel that way sometimes?
Yeah, no, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you're perfect and all, and you're like, your ego's like this big, but I mean, I assume there's something in there. Yeah.
A little something.
Just a little bit of weakness. So yeah, we can get overwhelmed by that and get very overcome by feeling like we are not enough, or we can't handle this situation, or there's this thing that's been constantly in the back of your head the whole time that you're shooting that day, where you're like, man, I can't articulate this thing like I want to somebody, or
like you get a bad photo.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day, you just focus on that one bad photo. Even if you get something great, you're just like, everything you come back to. And then you sit down to edit, and you're like, oh, look, there's this one photo. And like, you spend 12 years on it, and then your other photos that are good are still sitting there.
There's a foot in the left side, the back left.
Yeah.
The photo is otherwise excellent. No!
Yeah, focusing on
am I going to have to clone this? Oh, I have to respect the truth of the scene.
You go on existential crisis, fly to all the different religious meccas of the world, and then go to the philosophical meccas of the world and study everything, and then define your ethics and your morality, and then you come back to your photo 18 years later, and you realize that your computer died and your file's gone.
Oh my gosh! I'm just amazed by how elaborate that was.
I was trying my best.
Done.
It's one of my best qualities.
Well done. I mean, that was very poetic and elaborate. Your personality type probably lends to that. We've been talking about personality types, so I don't know where to go with that. But
let's just reel it. Let's just throw out that fishing line.
We're just gonna throw it out.
Reel
it back in. Bring it back in just a little bit. We're gonna grab it, and we're just gonna put it on the table, and we're gonna look at it.
And we're gonna talk about qualities.
Yeah. So we get overwhelmed by our weaknesses, and I know I've said that, but I'm trying to lead into the next point. And I am submitting the idea that instead of focusing on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths and lean into your strengths. Because I believe that if you focus on your weaknesses, well, we'll go the other way. If you focus on your strengths, you will obviously feel positive, and you will do great at excelling at your strengths. But you can also dedicate time. So let's say 80-20, right? 20% of the time you dedicate to improving your weaknesses, but you're still focused on your strengths. Your eye is still fixed on your strengths. So I do want to talk about like what our strengths and weaknesses are, but we'll get there in a second. So if you focus on your weaknesses, I have learned, and this is the big takeaway that I want people to get from this, is your weaknesses will drain you. They will, what was the word I used here? Suffocate. I'm glad I looked down. That's it. Our weaknesses will suffocate our strengths if we focus on them. And I've seen that in my own kind of growth and photography walk. So I think that makes a very compelling case to focus on your on your strengths. Wow, that could have got confusing. So, Will, what do you think some of your strengths are?
I mean, obviously, when I was writing this list, all I thought about were all my weaknesses. I was like, man, if only this was on weaknesses. I've got a great list of those.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think some of it.
Can I say a strength that I think you have?
Yes, go ahead.
I think from observing you, I think you're very good at gently leading people. Oh, peaches. Gently leading people through the experience. Okay, I can't think. You're throwing me off. Yeah, you're good at like gently leading people through the experience and saying, okay, come stand right here, and can you just kind of turn this way for me a little bit? Like you have this very gentle, kind of calm, easy approach about you that I think is very valuable. I think you do that very well.
That's good to hear, because that's one of those issues where sometimes I'm like, I feel like that's how I'm reacting with people. And that's the whole thing, I think, too, leads to your point on saying that, focusing on your strengths, because it's the whole issue of, I think when you focus on your strengths, your weaknesses improve because you just feel more confident. And a lot of, I think, people's weaknesses just relate to their confidence. Like for me, we're still, look at this, I'm already trying to like lead this back in my weaknesses. So, but anyways, one of my weaknesses is like I get uncomfortable in the lead up to asking someone. But when I'm feeling more confident about I'm making good images or something, or I know exactly what I want to have the image, then I don't really feel that, problem. So I think a lot of our weaknesses aren't almost like tangible things, but a lot of them are just like things we don't do well when we don't have high esteem of ourselves. But
that's huge. I think that's very valuable what you just said. That's excellent.
For me at least, most of mine are in here. Besides the obvious ones, like I could be better at every facet of photography. But I think one of my big things that I've always kind of prided myself on is I grew up and I've like been interested in lots of different things. So if y'all have watched all our videos, you've heard some backstory on me. But like I had a lot of varied interests growing up, and I still do. So like I pride myself in generally being able to relate with somebody.
Speed knitting was one of them.
Yeah, speed knitting. I was a champion speed knitter, champion boxer, champion cat breeder.
Wow.
Yeah. All by the age of 11.
Wow.
So, I was interested in a lot of things, so I always try to find some way to relate to someone, because I think that really completely changes the interaction between you and your subject, from them just being a stranger, which I think is uncomfortable for anyone, to you guys feel intimate to some degree. And I think that's where my best photos come from, is when I can build some degree of rapport with my subject. And a lot of that just comes down to relating with them. And that kind of leads into, I guess, the other thing I think I'm generally pretty decent at is I have a very strong fashion background. So I feel like the people I choose as subjects are very consistent, but also like they're the type of people a lot of times that would me recognizing for them for what they're wearing or like a very specific detail really hits home for them and also makes them more comfortable. So for me, it's like, I feel like, you know, those are ways I'm good at making people feel comfortable. But if people feel really rushed, sometimes I get uncomfortable with them. But I mean, that's kind of, I think, that and I can be high energy for short periods of time. So I think some introverts struggle with being just always kind of,
Yeah.
but I feel like I can turn it on for a little bit. Like I drain myself and I'll feel really terrible in the evening afterwards, but that's a big area for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's like definitely an area I see in you. And that's like where I've improved too, is like you have like an incredibly strong energy when you go up to people. And I think you're good at intuitively adjusting it from person to person. But I think like it's always just like a radiance of positivity and like not like, see, I don't want to use the word harmless, but like you don't seem like a threat at all. Like it's not like you seem like you have people's interests in mind and there's not like any sort of like secretive aura. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like a good vibes going on. Good vibes.
I appreciate that.
Keeping up with
that
this. The young kid terminology. You got to keep up with it. So,
nice
I mean, I think that's like a big area for me, seeing you work. That, and I think your ideas on like when you get a no, when it's okay, is really nice.
So, break that
I guess
down.
like when we talked about the no's and like you know what you fear out of a no is more that like you didn't communicate with them fully, rather than like you're fine just getting a no. Like I struggle with no's sometimes. Unless I'm just rolling good that day, like no's still
rolling good.
No's
No?
just kind of
All right.
no's just kind of
No?
beat
All
me
right.
down.
I
a little
picture
bit,
that
so.
scene in Spider-Man where he's dancing down the street. Everybody was like, that scene should have never been in the movie because he looks so lame.
I don't know how I can recover from that image.
Hello, wife.
Here you go.
Here's my shirt. Thanks.
Oh, ooh.
Here, you can bring it to me. Thank you. I won't wear it because I don't want everyone to see my goods. But this was the shirt I was going to wear. This is from Ugmonk. I always plug them on this video. But I'm wearing my tan shirt now. From Walmart. I really don't know where this is from.
That's okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so...
But let's go into like what
So-
you think.
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Because
so-
we
yeah.
have like our projections of ourselves. So let's launch into what you think.
Well, I think I'm beautiful.
That's important.
No, I think that goofiness is my first strength that came to mind. And I've learned that maybe I'll try to tone that back a little bit, and I've found that that's very much a weakness for me. I've learned that I can't rip goofiness out of my being. I operate best and I handle situations best when I imply goofiness into it.
Well, I just think it's
Employ.
very disarming too.
Yeah.
Right, like, I think it's a good tool. I mean, I always try to be like a little bit off the wall to some degree because I think it's like when people can have a little laugh or just kind of be like, "Oh, this guy's just a little goofy." It's not, it's not like you're being super pretentious or
Yeah.
super intense or like, "Hey, girl, I want to take your picture."
My theory is I'd rather have people be incredibly overwhelmed by how outrageous like that thing was that I said. Like I made a joke about a three-legged unicorn or something like this, than me trying to be like calm and professional. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want them. I don't know. I'd rather that. Another one of my strengths is that, in line with my personality type, that I've been learning about lately. This is a very recent development. I learned that I feel emotions really well. I can connect. I'm very intuitive with what people are feeling around me, and how I feel, how I can be coming off to them, or what they need in that moment from me, what kind of like they're missing if something's kind of off. I'm very intuitive in that way. I think that's a huge strength, especially when you're asking somebody to take their photo that you've never met before. Another one is kind of goes in line with goofiness, and I think this also goes in line with a little bit what you were saying. I feel like I'm obnoxiously friendly. Like I'm just sometimes I feel like I clash with other people who are maybe a little more raw, which is weird because I feel like I have that in me too.
Right.
But I feel like when I approach people and I meet them, and this came from my mom, my smile is like this, and I'm just so ridiculously friendly to them. And I think that's a good quality. Now I think I have to balance that with some level of kind of like if I walk up, I always use the example because I had this happen. There's a bouncer from Brooklyn, and I loved his like bravado. So I balance that with this sort of like kind of rawness and kind of adapting to his level. Like that's very much in me too. But I also have, I don't know, they kind of come together and I think make a kind of a nice thing. But I could find, the weird thing is I could figure out a way to find weakness in I think almost all of those if I tried to. But
no, I mean that's definitely the issue.
But I think they're definitely strengths. Yeah.
It's, some things that you might think, like say you're like, I'm really an introvert, shooting street portraits can't be for me. But like there's a lot of strengths to being an introvert generally, especially as a street photographer, and even in street portraiture, because you're going to be spending a lot of time just walking around the streets by yourself. So it's good to be able to kind of be that observer. And don't just limit yourself saying like, well, I'm super introverted and this and that, so I want to only shoot street candidates. Like I don't want to have to interact with people, that's fine. But if you're really drawn to street portraiture, don't like take something that could be a strength in the area and be like, this is such a giant weakness, I can't do it. Because I see so many photographers I know say to me like, I'd love to shoot street photography, or I'd love to do street portraiture or anything like that, and they're like, but then comes the big but, and it's like people will give literally like one person will give, I'm an introvert, the other person will say I can't do it because I'm an extrovert. It's like everybody kind of will take something that could potentially be their strength and then turn it into something that is a weakness, because I mean everything has a a plus and a minus. Everything has polarities in terms of whether it's good or bad for doing something.
True. That was good. We made good timing on that.
Yeah.
I was scared that was going to go for hours, but we covered a lot. That was really nice. I feel good about that. Do you guys feel good about that? Good.
Tell us your strengths.
Overall, we'd love to hear
about your strengths.
And weaknesses.
Yeah, if you want us to do a video on our weaknesses, if you want to see us plug out our souls about all the terrible problems we have.
Like by the end of the video, we're just crying.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. Just leave a comment, and that'll be the next video.
We'll need at least 3, because you got to prepare for that. It's like I got to arrange a therapy meeting like right after the thing, because we just cried. I need a dog to pet.
Yeah.
I need coffee.
It's James' real touchy-feely side. This is the bad side of it. You guys don't see it when he turns the video off and cries about the camera angle being off by 1 degree.
I also punch you.
Yeah, he's very abusive. It's an abusive relationship.
Okay. Well, this was good. So overall, yes, exercise your weaknesses, but focus in on your strengths. I hope we've made a compelling case for that argument. And please let us know how we can improve. Like, tell us things that you want to hear us talk about, and let us know what you think. We want to see comments. There's not enough comments. There's not a whole lot of comments, and I don't like that. We need to fix this. So we're gonna go. Have a lovely day. Go shoot beautiful photos. Goodbye.